Hello and welcome. I'm David Lasso. This is another episode of Living History. It's sponsored by the Professional Numismatics Guild, and it's a series where we speak with some of the well-known numismatists. I'm at the Long Beach Numismatic and Philatelic Exposition, where I found Bob Hendershott, who's going to run for the Board of Governors for the American Numismatic Association. Mr. Hendershott, why have you decided to run for the Board of Governors?
Well, I felt that in the number of years of experience that I had in the hobby, that I had learned some things that might be of value to the hobby and to the National Association. Not only the things that I've learned in my own experience, but my experience with putting on conventions. I was in the hotel business for years. I was 15 years. I was head of a convention bureau. I was for some years national sales director for a chain of 14 hotels. So I know the convention business particularly from all sides of the table. I was also a hotel owner for 34 years.
What year did you get started in numismatics?
Well, that's hard to determine. When I was 10 years old, my grandfather gave me some coins. He was a postmaster in a little town in Missouri. And he had in a drawer some miscellaneous items like 2-cent pieces and half-cent pieces that I had never seen. And I was curious about them, so one day he gave me a handful of them. He says, well, go study up on them, see what they are all about. And that's the way I got started.
You remember what year was your first A&A convention?
I don't remember what years, but I've been to every A&A convention since '54. I've been to most of the mid-year meetings also. But prior to that time, I just went to a few conventions, A&A conventions that happened to be close by. I didn't travel much.
You must have been around in the 1933 gold redemption. What was it like in those days?
It was very hectic. I was working in a bank at that time. And it was pitiful to see all these beautiful gold pieces being brought in there, sacked up and sent to the Federal Reserve Bank. And of course there were some things happened that were not right. For instance, I know of one man that found a lady that had, her husband had died. She opened her safe deposit box and found a bunch of $20 gold pieces. She didn't know he had them. But someone told her that it was illegal for her to have those. And he said, I know I can get rid of them for you, but you'll have to pay me a little fee to do it. So he took those gold pieces and less than face. Later on, she was in the bank and told the banker about it, and they did trace the man down, but he said that, well, he told her that what he would give for it, and she accepted it, and he had sold them, and there was nothing he could do about it. But there were a number of incidents at that time that people defrauded people that didn't know, other people that had gold and didn't know that it was illegal to have it. But during the time that it was being brought into banks, for instance, I have seen foreign gold pieces bought at less than face value, because in those days, if you sent it into New York, you had to pay a little premium on it, you know, or they didn't get face value or the regular value for it. So they would do that in these banks around the country. We had corresponding banks that also brought in gold pieces. But it was pitiful to see that beautiful stuff. I even turned in some of mine. I was afraid to keep it. I did keep 2.5 gold pieces. If you remember, 2.5 gold pieces were exempt. You could keep all those that you wanted. I think the law was that you could keep, of any one date, you could keep 4 of any one date of 2.5 gold pieces for collector's purposes. Well, I collected, I saved more than that, because I did save a lot of 2.5s. But it basically, you just turned in everything. Expensive pieces, rare pieces, it all went in.
Was there as much excitement for the 1948 issue of the Franklin half dollar?
Well, yes, but you see, the Franklin half-dollar was popular, and it was a change, and it was representing somebody that they knew about, where the walking half wasn't as distinctive as when you get someone's portrait on there that they know about. And I think that various half coins that have come down with the portrait of some known person on it have been accepted more than some of the others. However, there's a lot of people that believe in walking half-dollars and walking Liberty quarters, and it makes them valuable to have if you've saved some of them. But any change creates some discussion. And well, we liked it this old way, or some of them liked the new way, and it's going to be that way if we change designs now. It's going to be discussed, and some people will disagree. And that's natural, I think.
What are your thoughts about the new proposals for changing the coinage?
I think that we're long overdue on some issues. I think it will help the hobbies, definitely. But I think we need to improve maybe the designs and make them more attractive. I also collect personally some ancient coins of the Bible, and they did a beautiful job of striking coins way back there without the proper tools to do it with, that are far superior to ours and to classic beauty and attractiveness, and we need to do something to upgrade our coin. Just think, our Lincoln penny has been the same thing for so many years, no changes. Well, I still think we need the Lincoln penny, but or something else to take the place of it.
There's a lot of new commemorative coins coming out. Do you think there's too many on the market?
Well, I have mixed feelings about that. If it would do what they claim it was going to do. But some of these people that are encasing coins, slabbing them, you find that the grading is not true, and they say, well, don't worry about it because it's guaranteed. You don't have to worry about the dealer, but it's not. They're not properly graded. And then another thing that bothers me, I go to these shows, I've seen it here. Dealers on the floor with a hammer and a knife, breaking open those slabs. It causes the general public to feel like, well, there's something wrong with the policy of slabbing them if the dealers don't accept it. And if they're going to do that, which they have a right to do, they ought to do it privately. They shouldn't just sit down on the back of their table and pound them and get them open, get them out of there. But I think it's a good idea. If it was like everything else, it's been, no particular rules have been established about how this is going to be done or who does it. And too many people getting into it with different rules, regulations, and ideas, controls. There should be some board or something that would control that, so that the average collector would have more confidence in the program. I am a collector. I've never been a dealer, and I know I've been through this hobby up and down. There's been peaks and valleys for over the years. There will be in the future. We have to expect that. There'll be new innovations that we don't like, but they get improved and accepted. It's a wonderful hobby.
Mr. Hendershott, how would you counsel a new collector?
A beginning collector, the old advice that to get the book first is good, but the majority of them don't do it. I didn't. I just started filling holes in Whitman cards, you know, and that's the way most of them do. Another piece of advice is to get the expensive and the more valuable coins first, but they don't do it. I didn't do it. So it's, you get good advice, and you know it's good advice, but you just don't follow it. Sometimes you don't have the money. I remember that one time, I was born and raised in St. Louis, by the way, and my folks were there. And one time I was in St. Louis visiting my folks, and I was walking down Market Street and looked in the window of a pawn shop. There was a $50 Pan Pacific in the window. I went in and asked him what he wanted for it. He wanted $250 for it. I didn't have the money. I asked him if he would hold it for me. I said, I can get the money tomorrow, and I would like to have it. No, I said, well, I'll put a deposit on it. I'll give you $50. That's all money I had with me. No, he didn't take deposit, but he says it's been here for several days and probably be here tomorrow. So I raised the money and went back the next day, just before noon. It was gone. Those opportunities maybe once in a lifetime, and I might tell you another story that this hobby has been good to me. When I started to college at Washington University in St. Louis, all of the freshmen were smoking cigarettes. I had never smoked, so I had to smoke. I started smoking, and in 2-3 months, I was just smoking up a storm. I was collecting large cents, and I had most of them, but I was improving my collection as I could, and I saw a very rare large cent that I wanted, and I didn't have the money. I needed it. I needed it to upgrade my set. Didn't have the money, and I got to thinking about all the money I'd spent on cigarettes. I got mad at myself, and I stopped smoking right there. Right there, and I guess that's one reason that I've been in good health, one of the many reasons why I've been in good health, and the hobby stopped me from smoking.
What do you hope to achieve as a board of governor for the American Numismatic Association?
I hope to, as a senior citizen, I've been through this a lot, and I've had a broad base of experiences, and I hope that I can go into A&A and maybe present to them some fresh ideas from a collector's standpoint that will help A&A and help the hobby. I don't expect to get a lot of ideas that I present accepted, because you can't just go in and change an organization overnight. But I hope to be able to get them to realize that although we can't get anywhere without the dealers, that the primary hope for the future of our hobby are the young people and the people that are just starting, and the average collector. So much of the material and so much of the things that's published are geared towards students, advanced people with advanced education. It doesn't give the beginner much help and encouragement to start a small collection and build up. And those are the few things that I would like to do at A&A, and I just hope that, of course, one of the first things I'd like to do, and I'm not any smarter than anybody else, I'd like to help them balance the budget.
Thank you for spending some time with us, Mr.
Certainly glad to do it. Thank you, sir.
My guest has been Robert Hendershott, senior numismatist. I'm David Lasso, and this series is Living History. We're here at the Long Beach Numismatic and Philatelic Exposition. This has all been sponsored by the Professional Numismatists Guild.